Hello, everyone. We have a very special guest with us. We have Dr. Dev Manuru, MD Internal Medicine, who is the founder and CEO of CPFS, hospitalist, CDI Quality, Safety, and Patient Experience Physician. He is an advisor at Sanford Medical Center, Fargo. He is also an associate program director in Passion for the Internal Medicine Residency Program at University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences, and he is also doing up his role as an internal medicine clerkship director at UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences. Doctor, welcome to the interview.
Thank you, Abhi. Thank you for having me. I am very delighted to join you today, and I would like to extend my sincere thanks to you for what you do for the fraternity of medicine and how much you are trying to support medical students in their journeys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We are also very excited to have you here.
Thank you.
This session will be mainly focused for the match applicants. We will be discussing about a lot of topics that we as an international medical graduate have doubts on, and and we will be using your expertise here in this interview. So shall we start with our first question, sir?
Yes, absolutely, for sure. Thank you.
So let's start with the USMLE examination. So what are your thoughts on the USMLE STEPS scores and their importance in securing interviews and ranking order of an applicant?
That's a very timely question, Abhi. Yeah. USMLE scores are one of the most important factors that programs do look at to offer interviews and also to rank candidates, especially with the fact that now USMLE Step 1 has gone into pass fail. I think it is important to focus on the Step 2 and 3s and make sure that you do your best to secure a good score, uh, and uh, and then put it out there for programs to be able to see that, because it is for sure one of the factors that programs do use to interview or even to rank.
And so let's talk about USCs now. So we all know the importance of USC, but I want to ask you that. So what would be your advice to someone who could not secure an USC and is applying for this math cycle?
My U.S. clinical experience is a deep topic. The reason why I say that is, what is adequate U.S. clinical experience? I mean, is it observership? Is observership enough, or is externship enough? Uh, are 3 months enough? Or 6 months enough? Would 1 year be better? It's hard to tell. See, roughly there are close to about 19,000 international medical graduates that apply. 22% of last year's match was contributed by non-US IMGs. 22% was non-US IMGs. So that's close to 10,000 plus candidates. How will 10,000 candidates get clinical experience? It is
Yes.
not easy. Uh, Medical schools in US are struggling to get clinical experience for their own students. This is a general statement. I am not saying that one school is better or the other school is not, but I'm just saying that medical schools till date struggle to get clinical experience for their students that are actually graduating from US medical schools. Now you add another 10,000 plus non-US IMGs into that bucket, and go figure, where will you get the clinical experience? Yes. So what I'm trying to get to is, it is appropriate if you're able to get US clinical experience, because it will help you understand the system. It will help you understand the culture. It will help you get your feet wet. But if you cannot, then I don't think you should sweat about it. I would encourage you to look for what's in you that you can highlight to make up that gap. So, short answer, yes, it is helpful, but if it is not there, that's not the end of the world, because I don't think 10,000 students have US clinical experience when they apply.
So that answer will make up most of the IMGs feel relieved, as most of them don't have US clinical experience, as you have talked about. So let's move towards the personal statement. So what do you think, sir? Like, what is the importance of personal statement in the ERAS application?
Personal statement does play an important role in being able to obtain an interview and also to be ranked. But the personal statement should be very authentic. It should speak about you. It should not be a chat GPT-4 developed program, or it should not be pulled by someone you've paid to write it up for. So people will understand when you do such things. The suggestion to medical students who are trying to get into the US clinical system is be authentic. Don't don't fabricate things, because you can't justify when you're asked around uh, these items during interviews or during practice. So when you think of a personal statement, my suggestion to the viewers, uh, and again, these are all my personal impressions, experiences, and suggestions. So I would always tell people to take it with a pinch of salt and make your own decisions when you decide. Uh, Personal statement, you start off by talking about something that helped you make this decision to go into medicine. Then you walk your journey into medicine. Like, what did you do after you got that thought, after seeing something or experiencing something? How did you get into medicine? How did you work yourself through medicine? And what made you choose the specialty you're applying to? What was that trigger point or that click in medicine that said, aha, I'm going to go into dermatology? Aha, I think internal medicine is the best. So you will have to walk yourself through those steps in a genuine way, in a short, summarized way. And then your third paragraph could speak about your skills that you bring to the table. You can write, oh, I'm an honest, I'm a sincere, I'm this, I'm that. But I would encourage you to at least just pick one thing that you've demonstrated also. So it's not just you saying that you are sincere, disciplined, and you're a team player. But for example, let me put it in real circumstances. Let's take Abhi. Uh, Now, Abhi, I don't know what his journey was how he got into medicine. I don't know what his journey is going to be on which specialty he's going to pick up. But one thing I know that Abhi can put in his third paragraph is his genuine efforts to help others. So he can talk about that. He can say, I have been an advocate uh, of my colleagues. I have always put efforts to support my colleagues from third year of medical school training. I have started these podcasts and websites. I share information about this. I strongly believe a team player will lead this world. So that's the paragraph that Abhi can write. So I'm sure you all will have something, if you look deep, that you can talk about. And I think that is the most important point when you think of personal statements, is your journey, your unique quality. And further along, I know a few residents who have actually written uh, program specific personal statements. That's an interesting take. I don't think anyone has spoken about it so far, but I want to bring it out there for students. There are students who actually write program specific personal statements. So what they will write is they will talk about the program at the end of the paragraph, and they will say how their skills will fit into their program and how they will be a good addition. I encourage students not to say that we're going to take your program to the next level. I don't think it's fair to say that, but I think it is good to say that you would be a good addition to their program and you would facilitate and support the growth of that program as an individual of that team. So that's the basic concept of personal statement. So I would encourage you all, like I said, don't use people to write those personal statements. Make sure it is your story, and then describe one unique quality. If you want to put up program specific personal statements, that's excellent. But be mindful that you're not sending one personal statement to the other program and vice versa. And always remember, check your grammar, check your sentences, use somebody else to read the personal statement. I have made mistakes. I write emails and I assume after reading 4 times that everything is perfect. And then I click send. And then I realize I didn't put in the for. So I don't want you to make those mistakes. So this is like a one chance. Do your best. Mistakes happen, they happen, but do your best. That's my answer, Abhi.
Yeah. So summarizing everything that you have talked about personal statement, so would it be better to say in one line that everyone should understand their own selling point?
Their own unique characteristic, yes. You know, you're doing this not to sell. You're doing this because you believe in this. You are a leader in your own self. You try to guide. There might be somebody who is excellent in research, right? There might be some gold medalist in anatomy or physiology or biochemistry or whatever subject, right? That's the summary. Correct, Abhi. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead.
Right, sure, sure. So now let's talk about let's move towards the ERAS application. So, what will be your advice to someone who is not able to apply on time and is actually applying late for the ERAS application submission?
So first and foremost thing I would encourage all students, I'm going to look at a few notes that I put together. So you might hear some crumbling noise of paper.
No
Sorry.
problem.
Uh,
No problem.
Thank you. So my suggestion to medical students is please make use of WAMC, AAMC, NRMP, ERAS, and ECFMG websites. They have fantastic information published out there for residents and aspiring residents and fellows. So I would highly encourage all students to go on ERAS website, ERAS, and check things out. You will get a lot of information right from you know the people who actually put it out there. So that's first thing I would encourage you all to do. Second thing, if you have not checked out a recent post that I put out on my LinkedIn website, just check that out. There are videos that are listed in there that'll walk you through on the steps you need to take when you fill your application. There are videos. In that first video, it's actually there where they talk about what if I am doing it late.
Mhm.
So it's a long video, it's about 1 hour something, but I think it's worth the time you will put in there. I actually reviewed that video the whole 1 hour before I put it out there because I wanted to know what they're talking about, and I think they had some fantastic information that all students will benefit from. So the answer to the question is: one, please review the websites. Two, check out the post and check out the video. And three, as long as you are able to get in before the closing date, it's still okay because programs still download uh, candidate applications. It's not that, oh yeah, September 26th, it's done, they have done downloading, they're not going to download anymore. No, they do download after also. So but the chances might be lower. Just be ready for that, because there are a lot of people who are ready by then. So obviously there are quite a lot of applications that have already been downloaded, and now if you come in late, there is a chance you might not have that many interviews, but it is still an important effort that you should put in.
Yeah, sure. That is a really awesome answer. So let's talk about the factors the programs use to offer an interview to an applicant.
It's a good question. So uh, I'll give a twofold answer, Rabi. Uh, the first one will be my own opinion or my own experience based on what I have seen so far. Just for the viewers, I have been a core faculty for more than 10 years. I have also been a clerkship director for close to now 7 years, and an associate program director for more than 3 years. So I have seen quite a lot of medical education, starting from undergraduate to graduate medical education. And what I have seen is it all depends on what the candidate brings to the table, and also what the program wants at that time. So talking about just one side might not help, because I'll tell you, for example, in the East Coast, there's a good opportunity for IMGs. Why? The answers are obvious. Where everybody knows that East Coast has a lot of IMG friendly programs, and they do take a lot of IMGs. Now, when you transition to other parts, there might not be that many programs that might offer, IMGs interviews, or they might not rank them because of different reasons. It's not personal. It's just that the program has certain aims and they have certain expectations that they want to fulfill, and the candidate might be excellent but might not match the aims and expectations of what the program wants to fulfill. So that's very important to know. So it's not just about us, it's about them too.
Mhm.
So when you think of what the candidates can do to get that best chance to get into an interview, there are a lot of factors. Steps are one. Good personal statement is two. Making sure that there are no gaps in medical education. Having a master's or a skill to execute clinical research. Having certain publications and clinical experience do help. Like I said, they're not necessary, absolutely, but they do help. So, and interestingly, even uh, the school you come from. Now, moving on to the other uh, explanation, or the other part that I was talking about, which I will share. NRMP sends out a survey to all programs asking them these questions. And 2024, they did the same thing. What they do is they usually send this survey every even year.
Mhm.
So 2020, then they sent it in 2022, and then they sent it in 2024 during the match time. They're very clear and they're very structured in when they send these surveys to program directors. And these surveys are voluntary. They're not expected or mandated to fill. So they sent out a survey in 2024, and it's just hot off the press. It's listed or posted on their website, and the survey was sent to 6,390 programs. 1,150 programs responded. So that's only 18% of the entire list. So when you take this information, remember, this information was only from 18% of the program directors. So there might be a lot of other program directors who are looking at something else, but we don't have that data. But the data that we have is what I will show you. And this is all on NRMP, and people can just go in and look up, but sometimes it's hard to understand. So that's what I'm trying to explain. So the take-home message of this survey is 6,000 plus programs were sent out the survey. Only 18% survey return was obtained. So now the results that I will show the audience is from the 18% program directors.
Yeah.
Got it?
Let's do that.
Let's do it. Perfect. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm just gonna do this 1 second. Okay. All right, so when you see this, see, what I want you to understand is on your left-hand side, these are the percentages of respondents who selected a factor. So these are all the factors that were sent out to the program directors asking, hey, which factor do you think had the highest weight in your opinion when you chose to give an interview to this candidate, or or the candidates that were offered interviews? So these were all the characters or the factors. Now we can go over the top 5. If you look at this, they're checking if they were step 1 pass or fail. They're looking at the dean's letter. That's another important factor. Then letters of recommendation in that particular specialty were also important. Step 2 CK score. We just talked about it earlier, that scores are also important. The personal statement, any failed attempt in USMLE, history of having overcome significant obstacles. And we'll talk about this. I forgot to mention this at the in the ERAS application, but we'll talk about it after we finish this session, or this part of the session. And then perceived commitment to specialty. So these are all, when you look at the factors, these are the top 5. Now, as we move towards the right, or my right, 90% respondents answered the first question. And this survey rating, or the mean importance, so the importance was between 1 to 5, 1 being not so important factor, 5 being the most important factor. And what you're seeing here is the mean of all the survey answers. So when you look at it, 4.5 is a big deal. Yes. So when you think of step 1 pass, if they see that you passed step 1 the first attempt, that's a good thing. The dean's letter is also, it does carry a big impact factor. But then now when you look further, you will see evidence of professionalism and ethics. That's a big thing. I will show you one important thing. Let me just see. Let me pull out this and then take out these standardized lectures. Other knowledge of, other knowledge is important. Yeah, and then see this. And if we pull out this, and you can play around. It's not just me. You can play around and you can do whatever you want with this, and you will see. But what I'm trying to get to is there's one more big thing here, 4.8. It says interest in one, two. Yeah, I think it says it was yeah, it was the Sigma Phi Osteopathic Honors Society. Was that the one? Yeah, and then this one also. So passing complex. But I think what I would like to highlight on this slide is these are the things that programs use when deciding to offer an interview.
So, so can you also show us the data if you have about like the factors that the program used to rank candidates in the rank order list after an interview?
Absolutely, yes, we can do that. To rank. Now, when you look at this, interpersonal skills was answered by 89% of the respondents. Now, again, this is the cohort of 1,051 or 53 program directors out of the 6,000 programs that were sent out a survey. So out of the 18% respondents, 89% program directors said that interpersonal skills were very important or was one of the most important factor that they considered before they ranked a candidate. The second thing that was uh, the second question that was answered the most was interactions with faculty during interview and visit. That also had a high impact rating. If you see, mean importance rating was 4.8. The third most frequently answered question, or 76% of these program directors answered this question and mentioned feedback from the current residents was also another important factor. Then the fourth was interaction with house staff during interview and visit. So that's talking about the site visit.
Mm-hmm.
That was also an important factor. And then further along, if you see step 2 scores, letters of recommendation from specialty, personal statement, and this perceived commitment to specialty, these are all big things. So they did have a factor in uh, in their decision. So if you see personal statement still had some weightage, almost 60% of the respondents did say it did have a mean importance rating of 3.9. So it's the mean. So, it's pretty much half of them are on the other side, half are on this side, right? When you think of
Right.
mean.
Sure. That is,
So,
yeah,
go ahead.
that was really a very helpful data from your side.
Thank you.
Really think that the match applicants can use this one to really craft their application and their application cycle in a better way.
100%. 100%.
And once you have mentioned in this session that the research part have some importance in the US application, but it is not like widely necessary for your application. So, what would be your advice to someone who do not have any research to fill up in the research subsection in the ERAS application?
That's a good question. See, uh, research, when you think of research and scholarly activities, uh, there are two parts to it. One, the candidate should possess some skills to be able to deliver on research and scholarly activities. And two, the candidate uh, should have, should strive to have some publications. Now, those publications can be oral presentations, guest speaker lectures, peer reviewed or non peer reviewed. So there are a lot of categories. So you have to think a little bit deeper and make sure that you really don't have any research. See, if you've even done an oral presentation at an event,
Mm.
you could add that as an oral presentation in ERAS. So it's not necessary that you have to have a full peer-reviewed publication out there for you to say something. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And the second thing is, like I said, if you don't have any publications, it's okay, but you should at least show or try to work on yourself to build those skills. What can you do to build those skills? You can consider masters. When you think of masters, it will help you because masters programs do build your skill. Masters programs will help strengthen your application for your future in the US. I personally have seen this. Master's programs help students in their fellowship applications. Master's programs help clinicians in their future career paths. So I would highly encourage students to consider master's programs. Now, when you think of master's programs, you have to think of master's programs that are relevant to your practice. You can't just start a master's program that's not probably relevant and expect results through that in your program. So, Masters in Clinical Research is a fantastic program that students can consider. Masters in Public Health with Epidemiology and Statistics is fantastic because when you do such things, you're showing that commitment to continued learning. You're showing your commitment or that unique experience that you want to talk about because in ERAS there is a specific place saying give your unique experience or something like that. There's a section there in personal experiences. You can actually talk about your masters and say how your skills will help the programs too, so or how you will be able to support the programs. So that's one thing. Then there are a lot of certification programs out there that will train you and make your skills better in clinical research. I did one program uh, like 11 years into clinical practice because I felt that I was not good at that and I want to build myself. So I did a certification program myself. So that's my long answer, Ravi.
Yeah. So let's talk about now signaling to the programs. And this year's signaling in the US application is a bit different than the previous year one. So now, how does it look for the 2024 math cycle, the signalings for the program?
Uh, so uh, for the 2024 match cycle, signaling is embedded in the application. So when you choose a program, before you pay for it, or before you start checking out, I think the 2024 ERAS application wants you to actually choose if you want to signal that program or not at the beginning itself. So that's the new development, and that is the latest ERAS embedment of signaling into their application process. Now, if you want to know more, check out the video from uh, AAMC that I just mentioned earlier. There is a slide or there's a PowerPoint presentation that will walk you through, okay, how do you signal, how do you unsignal, all of that. So that's in brief about what the 2024 signaling process is like.
So, does that signaling have any significance on the programs looking at your application, like giving importance to looking at your application?
It's a good question. So the signaling process is very important for the candidate and for the program. So one, signaling process allows a candidate to express their genuine interest in the program for some reason. And that reason can be anything uh, from the candidate side. But what they're trying to tell the program is that they have a genuine reason that they're choosing this program, or they favor this program compared to the other programs that they have applied. Now, in signaling process, we have to understand that there might be some programs that are not participating in the signaling program. So there are residency programs that can opt out. They don't have to opt in. And NRMP receives and ERAS receives all of this information before they go live on September 4th. And they put everything in ERAS application website. And they have the list even on their website that which programs are actually participating in the signaling process and which programs are not. So I would encourage students to actually go look at that. And then once you understand that there might be programs that don't participate in the signaling process, the next thing you need to understand is there are two kinds of signaling pathways. There's a single tier signaling process, and there's a two-tier signaling process. So what does that mean? Is single tier is basically you just have silver. That's the code. So those programs or those specialties will just opt to have that single tier signaling. And when you signal such programs, the programs will just receive your application with a code saying preferred.
Mhm.
If you don't signal, it won't say anything. Now, the two-tiered programs or specialties, they have gold and silver. And when you hit gold, that's basically telling the program that you prefer that program uh, predominantly, or the program will receive the application with a statement saying most preferred. And the silver signaling will share to the program that you have indicated that they are a preferred program. But when you click gold, it will be most preferred. So the tokens are limited. You can only do about 3 gold and I think 12 silver for medicine. And then there's a list of how many signals you can send out to programs depending on the specialty.
Hmm.
Now, remember, the signaling is at the time of application. Now, your mind or your interview might be different. It might make you feel that, oh, I probably signaled the wrong program. I probably wanted, should have signaled this one as gold and this one as silver. So it might change. So basically, what I'm trying to say is signaling just tells programs that you are interested in that program, but it will not it might not define your ranking. Why? Now on the program side, programs use signaling as one of the factors.
So now an applicant have done everything, and he or she receives an interview invite. And there is an option for virtual as well as in-person interview. So, what would you advise someone what to take up, and what is the benefit of taking up in-person interview over virtual interviews?
Good question, Abhi. I think we are now in this world of mixed interview process. So I think, or my suggestion to students is check the program, review the program's expectations, go on their websites and look for what they have talked about the interview process and what they like. So check that first. If a program says virtuals are offered in-person visits are entertained, or encouraged, then latch onto those words and decide which one you want to do. Because if a program is saying, well, we do both, but in-person is encouraged, then you have your answer. But if they say, we're open to either, we're not going to scrutinize based on which path you choose to interview with us, that's great. At least people are clearly telling you that, we're not going to judge based on which pathway you choose to interview with us. So, step one, look into the program that you're applying and figure out what type of interview you want to conduct or go with them. Step two, if there is an opportunity and you are able to attend a site visit, I would highly encourage you to do that. Why? You've already seen the charting outcome results we just talked about. They're saying, oh, how did they interact with our faculty? How did they interact with our current residents? How did the interview go? They were all big factors. So obviously, if you can put yourself out there, but putting yourself out there in a uh, you know in a structured way is important. Just going out there and trying to say that you're a talented person and you can change the world is not the right way. Go in a way where you're going to be a team player. Go in a way where you are eager to learn. Go in a way where you appreciate their uh, offer to actually be there in person and share all of those things. That'll give you a good chance.
Sure. That is a very realistic answer from your side.
Thank
So
you, man.
now let's talk about something that really haunts most of the applicants. So what would be your thoughts on choosing the geographical references or preferences in the ERA cycle? So for IMGs like us, like we are thousands of miles away from the United States, and like for many of the candidates, it generally it's not of that importance of where they match. Some of them just want to get into the system or so. So, what would be your advice to someone on choosing the geographical preferences?
Uh, if you genuinely have a preference and you cannot open yourself out to the whole US market, then do that. Now that preference could be because your spouse is there in that area or your family is there, or, there are a lot of reasons why people choose that. So in IMGs, I do know candidates who choose the geographical preference option. And I don't think that's going to hurt them. Uh, I think it is okay because they've made their decisions on choosing that geographical preference. Now, would it have been better if they did not choose it? It is again dependent on the candidate. So if the candidate has a poor application and they're not sure, but they want to match no matter what in a program,
Mhm.
it is okay to not put the geographical preference.
Sure,
But if
sure.
the candidate is strong and they want to stay in a geographical area, it is okay. You can try that.
Thank you for that answer. So now let's talk about the USMLE Step 3 examination and a pass on USMLE Step 3. What is the significance of USMLE Step 3 on interview invitation as well as ranking an applicant for the match?
Absolutely, Abhi. One thing I'd like to just add on that geographical specification point, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Still go on.
Uh, when you click no preference uh, in eras, you get a box and it says why you're choosing no preference. So you can be honest there. You can say, I am a non-US IMG. I have already traveled thousands of miles out of my country. My effort at this time is to get into a residency and pursue my professional growth. That is why I am open to any place. So it is okay to write that because they have given a paragraph or they have given an option under that no preference so that you can put whatever you want.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
so let's talk about the USMLE Step 3 examination
Yeah,
and the significance of USMLE Step 3 pass on the interview invitation and ranking an applicant for the match by the program.
got it. Thank you for that question. So, step three, uh, in general, is necessary for IMGs to be able to secure an H1 visa. So, if you're looking to secure an H1 visa, I would highly encourage you to finish your step three as soon as possible. Now, in regards to whether programs do factor step three to offer or rank a candidate, it's variable. So, there's no firm answer on that. There are programs that are purely dependent on IMGs and absolutely need to sponsor visas, and
Mhm.
they only do H1 visas. Then they want candidates who've already completed step three or are almost completing step three before the interview season ends.
Mhm.
And there are programs that don't offer visas, uh, like work visas, but they might offer J1 exchange waiver visas. And they might not be that pushy or picky on you having to complete step three. So it all depends on what program, what visa status, and all of those factors. Now, I have a data backed up answer also, and the data backed up answer comes from the program director survey that we just talked about. I don't have the slide, but I did make some notes around the questions uh, relevant to steps. So let me read them out to the viewers.
Sure.
So the percentage of programs using USMLE to select applicants for interviews. So 97% of the programs that answered the survey uh, said they required a pass for USMLE step one. Then for step two, 24% of the programs they preferred but do not require a score. 36% of the 1,150 programs required a target score. And then 37% of the programs required a pass. Now, when we go to step three, 59% of the programs did not consider step three. 27% of the programs preferred but did not require a step three. 5% of the programs required a target test score, and 10% of the programs required a pass test score. However, the survey was completed by only 18% of the residency programs. So it was only 1,150 programs out of 6,390 programs. So there are close to 5,000 programs that haven't answered this question. So uh, we really have to be mindful or cautious in how we interpret this data and how does that impact IMGs. So in my knowledge, I would tell you if you can finish step three, do it.
So now let's talk about one emotionally confusing question for IMGs. So let's for example talk about me uh, for this hypothetical situation. So for example, I'm the candidate who have received an interview from, let's say, an Ivy League institution, and I have also received an interview from a basic community medical center. but my interview had been better. So this is what I feel from inside, that have been better in the community medical center. But uh, me from inside want to go into the obviously into the Ivy League center or so. So what would you suggest me or someone like me uh, what to rank on? Rank the best interview type or rank the best program I like to go to?
It's a good question, Abhi. And also a personal question, right? I mean, here you have your mind and heart fighting against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would encourage you to just go with what the data says. The data says uh, for programs to rank a candidate, they must feel comfortable with the candidate. So if your perception of the interview at an institution was better than the other, then I would encourage you to rank that program first and the other one second. So if your interview was excellent at the university program, you felt really good, everybody had great things to say about you, or they were appreciative of your overall picture, which includes, your CV, your application, your personal statement, your physical presence or virtual presence, all of that, then I would encourage you to choose the university program, above the community program, because that's where your experience was probably much better based on your perception and based on what you perceived from what others said. Now, if that was not the case and you still wanted to rank the university program higher, it's a choice you make, but it can be a little riskier based on what the data says.
Thank you. Thank you for answering. This might have been a bit of personal question for many of the applicants or viewers that are going to watch our interview. So now let's talk about the previous math cycle or so. So, what are the top residency specialties for the IMGs? And can you please elaborate on the 2024 math cycle?
Absolutely, Abhi. Thank you for that question. The 2024 maths results again are on NRMP, so students can go and check it out. I will give a brief summary of what I could, uh, what do you say, put together. So, uh, the grand total programs, which include PGY1 and PGY2, both, were about 6,395 residency programs. The total positions, 41,503 residency spots for 2024. Hmm? And now, the total number of applicants, the grand total for PGY 1 and 2, 75,073 applicants. And among the 75,073 applicants, IMGs are broken down into US IMGs and non-US IMGs. I don't know if many viewers know about this or not, but US IMGs are basically citizens of the US who've gone out of US to gain medical school training, and they're back into the pool. Non-US IMGs are pretty much students who have just gone through their whole training and they're not citizens of the US. So when you see these two buckets, US IMGs, the total number of applicants was 7,721. The non-US IMGs, 15,826 applicants. Now, when you look at the non-US IMG bucket, 5,864 positions were filled by non-US IMGs. And US IMGs, 3,181. The top 5 programs that non-US IMGs matched into is IM, FM, Family Medicine, pediatrics, neurology, and psychiatry. And they continue to be the big programs that uh, provide opportunities for non-US IMGs till date. So that's the match result in brief, Abhi.
Thanks for that. So before we move forward with our next question, I would like to notify our viewers too that Dr. Manru also uses his expertise to mentor the match applicants through his mock interviews and personal statement reviews services. So I would also like to uh, advise our viewers to have a look on the website that I will put down in the description box. So let's so one candidate have watched this interview, he have gone through the whole process, he have gone through your whole advice, and he has matched. So what after the match? What after once we match?
That's a good question, Abhi. See, transition into residency is a big topic. It's not just a topic for international medical graduates, it's a huge topic even for medical graduates of the US health system getting into residency. Getting into residency is one step. We are blessed if we're matched. But then starting day one of residency and knowing what you need to know on that day one is equally important. All the efforts we put in to get into a residency is one side of the story, but I would highly encourage students to equip themselves to be good clinicians on day one of residency. What do I mean by that? A lot of non-US IMGs have fantastic medical knowledge, but they really don't have the in-depth clinical practice and health system sciences knowledge and skills that they need to have when they start residency. US medical graduates are fortunate by default because they train in the same systems that they are going to be training further in. However, this transition into residency was brought up by US medical schools because they were seeing a gap in what the medical students were going through training as a medical student and what they were being expected to perform as a resident. There was a gap. So they actually put together core and trustable professional activities. It's on AAMC, people can look up. And these are aspects that medical students are being trained to be efficient and effective as residents. So if US medical schools are doing all of this, I think putting our non-US IMGs directly into residencies without having a proper understanding of all of these concepts is setting, they're not going to be able to put their best foot in through those doors. So I would encourage students to do their best to gain some knowledge and skills on the clinical practice and health system sciences aspects before they get into residency. I would encourage students not to waste time or not to feel fully content once they match, because I felt that. So when I matched, I thought I am done. I am the star now. I have a job. I'm going to be making $3,000. I'm going to be in the US. And I was all set. I didn't think of anything else. I just had to focus on the visa and do some shopping, meet all family, figure out a wedding and this and that. And then I came in. As soon as I came in, when the rubber hit the road on day one, my legs were trembling. And for 3 to 6 months, I struggled. I struggled to understand this system. And for viewers, I spent 6 months in clinical rotations in Texas. So I kind of knew the system, but I still struggled because those 6 months was not enough. And when I went through that, I, in fact, even questioned my own confidence. I was thinking, did I do the right thing coming to this country? Am I a right match? That dropped my confidence. For some people, if they go through that, they might never come back. By God's blessings and my wife's support, I came through it, and I'm at least able to help others. But I don't want others to go through such problems. I would highly encourage people to look for resources to sharpen their skills and be good residents from day one, and not have that feeling that they're any less than US grads. So it's a long answer, but I think it's very important, because I want to emphasize to students that getting residency alone is not enough. You have to be successful, and you should be able to provide good patient care and safe patient care from day one, like how you're doing in your home countries today. So
Thank you for this answer. So before we close up, so what would be your thoughts on taking mentorship from the experienced individuals, uh, and also some advice for the match applicants? Final advice.
yeah, Abhi, I would encourage applicants at this time, when it is close to eras being open, to make sure their signaling is proper,
Mm-hmm.
make sure their personal statements are appropriate without any grammar and all of that mistakes. Look for resources to enhance their interview skills. Our programs do offer quite a lot around these uh, domains that I just talked about. I have a boot camp that we will be doing uh, in April in India and one in the US. So I have put all of the information that you actually will benefit from knowing before entering residency. You can sign up for that, but it's a choice you can take. Nobody is going to tell you you should, but there are resources out there. You can just check and see and decide what you think is best for yourselves. The most thing, you've already seen that.
And so it has been like over an hour since we started this interview, and the time just went by. So just like to thank you for your time, to be here on my channel, to be here for my viewers, who are also now your viewers. I also like to suggest everyone watching to please visit Dr. Monru LinkedIn profile, and also the website link that I will be attaching below in the description box. And we were really very grateful to have you here, Dr. Monru, and we really wish you best of luck uh, in your future ahead too.
Thank you very much, Abhi. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your genuine efforts to help the students out there in this world who are aspiring to come into the US and pursue training and practice. I wish you also the very best in your own personal journey, and looking forward to seeing you as a great human being and a great physician in the US.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I really try my best to achieve that.